Hello, greetings, welcome, greetings, everyone. Welcome to Dorsey's Resource. First, before we get started, I'm going to give a disclaimer. This video is for informational and educational purposes only. Please understand everyone's individual circumstance and situation is different. It's up to every individual competent person to please do his or her own homework and research into the matter being discussed. All right. All right. I had to kind of had a distraction there. Um, Welcome to the chat, Jordan Evela. As I was giving the disclaimer, I had to kind of fix something there. Had a little interference going on, but the topic of this video, I'm gonna finish giving my disclaimer too. Is this video once again is for educational entertainment purposes only. Please understand these are my opinions. Dorsey's Resource is not liable or responsible for any misuse of the information. This is based off of my experience and credible research that I have and sources that have confided information to me personally and information that I've investigated. I see some more people in the chat really quick. More news about the U.S. dollar. Tony Ingram, Supreme El Bey, Islam Dorsey. Greetings, Islam, to you back, Supreme Bey. Welcome to the chat. Greetings to everyone. Thank you for joining me. I just wanted to discuss what's going on with this censorship. I see Renee in the chat. How you doing? Greetings to you, Renee. This video, I had to take some notes. I don't know how long this is going to be. I'm maybe on kind of limited time here, but let me get right into it. I wasn't sure if I was going to do a video talking about humanitarian projects, but I might throw some information about that in here, dealing with the global currency reset, which you can watch some of my other videos about. And this private, I call clandestine operation, I attended some years ago. Really, it was an elite event. Some of you all that know me personally or know when I was on the Discord app, we had discussions about it, who it is. I won't say the name right now, but the topic of this video, get right into the meat and potatoes, is censorship by big tech giants and what they're trying to do to influence the midterm elections. This is going to be about the censorship of big tech giants. This is a form of discriminatory practices. This is also torturous interference, as I went over before in a previous video, when one media organization such as CNN or others try to lobby to have one organization shut down, no matter if you dislike their speech. In journalism, people are taught, even in journalism school, even lawyers. I know I have a relative that's a communications major, and she understood when I told her, you're supposed to have a well-balanced perspective. The media is not supposed to be one-sided. These were laws that were put in place. But I just found out Ben Swan did a video. I won't spoil it for you guys. He worked for a news organization down in Cincinnati where he talked about this bill that Obama signed, the NDAA, which had something to do with regulating how the media reports on information and how it took away from years past. They had checks and balances set up to protect the media, such as CNN, MSNBC, and others, from propagandizing the media and not telling the American people the truth. For what it is, no matter what political party you're affiliated with, but just reporting the truth for what it is and not picking and choosing certain stories, like the media hasn't been reporting on how Trump had been going after a lot of child trafficking. There was a lot of arrests made, over 3,000, where there was there was Hollywood people. Like, you can look this up online. This has come out publicly. This has already been released. That don't quote me on it. It's the acronym for NXVIM cult. Look up, it may be, it'll put it in correctly for you if you put it in Yahoo or Google search engine, NXVIM sex cult or whatever. Our local news station here in Detroit actually reported on it, like Allison Mack from the Smallville show. She's out on bail, and there were some other high profile people who were a part of that, and that was reported on. But the mainstream media is not talking about this like they're supposed to. They're just focusing on the negative things about Trump, and they're not telling you the crimes that were committed by Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton, very serious crimes with dealing with Benghazi. Obama claims he didn't have any scandals. That's not true. When he was involved with trying to sell that Senate seat in Chicago, Jesse Jackson Jr. Took the fall for that. And Jesse was mad anyway because he was, I heard some years ago what he did for the cabal. He felt that they should have gave him the presidency. He felt he didn't think it was fair they gave it to Obama to be the first modern day black president. This is why. So Jesse Jackson Jr. took the fall for Obama in that Senate seat when Obama left office. That was one scandal. You had Lois Lerner in the IRS, where Obama specifically targeted Dr. Ben Carson, had his tax stuff with his organizations audited. He went after Tea Party people. You're not supposed to use your political position to such as what he did at the time, to go after people specifically. These are violations of human rights, international laws. These are discriminatory practices. And there was even the incident with Benghazi with Ambassador Chris Stevens, with Hillary Clinton. He asked for extra security. He didn't receive it. Some Navy SEALs were told to stand down. They wanted to go in and rescue Ambassador Stevens and save him. And I got this information from studying alternative media too, because the mainstream media, they were spinning the stories, or weren't going into all the details. So I'm showing you how, we're getting to where we're at and kind of what's going on. I'm going to give a shout out some more people in the chat. Money Boy Films. What's up, Money Boy? Money Boy in the building. What's up, everybody? Supreme El Bay, indeed. CNN fake news. Yes, sir. Tony Ingram, you are correct. Yes, she was alert of part of a sex ring. Yep, you're correct, Supreme Bay. See, they're not talking about that aspect. I feel that these crimes are far worse, because I watched the Breakfast Club interview with Angela Rye. She's a lawyer, whatever. And she's incorrect about a lot of this stuff she's saying about Trump. With the Michael Cohen thing. Yeah, Trump did pay off with former Mayor Giuliani mentioned there was no violations dealing with, he did not use campaign funds. He paid the money off to Ginger Daniels. I'm not doubting that that's not true. But when you compare, let's say, even if it was true that Trump was colluding with the Russians, in comparison to the crimes that Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton have done, are far, far worse. In comparison, when you compare uranium one, how Hillary Clinton, John Podesta was involved with selling uranium to the Russians. That's used to make nuclear bombs, by the way. In case you don't know, they used to put some of this information dealing with Iraq, where they would talk about weapons of mass destruction, and they would repeat it and talk about depleted uranium. And I started doing research. The uranium is used to make nuclear weapons, but they won't tell you there is information that was already declassified that government agents already publicly mentioned Hillary using a private server, which if you've ever worked for the government, there's supposed to be strict rules that you're supposed to follow. They're very strict. So this is how a lot of people, government officials, know there was a lot of criminality between and under the Obama administration. They're trying to pass him off as he's like he was squeaky clean. This is how the mainstream media has just been one-sided. They hadn't been telling the full perspective of the truth. When you weigh, I weigh the lesser of the two evils. And I feel, in my opinion, that when I hear all this vitriol towards Trump, so you're telling me that Hillary Clinton would have been a better candidate. I don't think so. She's definitely deeply embedded with the cabal, the Illuminati, criminal cabal that is behind running child sex trafficking rings, bringing drugs into the country. Also gun trafficking. I forgot about that. Eric Holder, he was a former attorney general, and then he also served under Obama's administration. Look up Operation Fast and Furious. And this is if you type in Eric Holder's name on Wikipedia, if they haven't tried to scrub it yet. So just showing you how credible I am, because the research that I do is top notch. I know what I'm talking about is factual. This is not fake news. This is independent journalism. This is why they're trying to shut and censor different YouTube channels and shut independent journalists down, because people were coming to YouTube to see what independent citizen journalists were mentioning, or people from their perspectives, the facts involved. But look up Operation Fast and Furious, dealing with, I believe it was continued from the Bush administration, Not saying he's innocent. He's part of the cabal. That's why they all notice how all of a sudden, you mean to tell me Bush and Obama are a good guy or on the same team now, and they were supposed to be opposite parties, and they all ganging up against Trump, as well as John McCain, who ran against Trump, but he's siding with Obama. Come on now, think about it. John McCain. So it tells you who these deep state criminal operatives are that have sold this country out. Obvious. So I'm just trying to get to the meat and potatoes. I'm not trying to just necessarily be political, because I'm not a registered voter. And I have high level reasons why. I'm a very astute person. I kind of went over my background already in a previous video. I was a perfect straight A student in 8th grade. I know some people didn't think it means anything going back to middle school. High school, I had good scores overall. My 10th grade year was my only bad year that I had. I was transferring from another school. I had all A's and B's my freshman year. Also, when I was in 8th grade, I received a bunch of awards. I was a member of the National Honor Society, which the actor that played in Black Panther, Chadwick Boseman, I found out just similar to him. I was part of that, where you could have your photo. I didn't understand it at the time, but because I had received Student of the Month the last semester, my 7th grade year, but going into 8th grade, I had the highest scores in the class. My teacher went by a percentage system. Just going over my credentials briefly, when I went in, started college, I transferred from DeVry Institute in Columbus, Ohio to Detroit College of Business, which eventually got bought out, purchased by Davenport University, which was based in Grand Rapids, Michigan. They bought up a lot of mom and pop schools. And I had, my times there where I was I wasn't trying at first. I wasn't doing well when I first started there, but it was my, own doing. But all of a sudden, within one semester, not a lot of students can say this, I was on academic probation 4 semesters in a row. I was supposed to be expelled. And I turned everything around just like that. Of course, with the help, the good mentorship, and refocusing myself, I made the dean's list the following semester. Yes, I had 2 A's and a B. I was taking those 3 classes. I was considered full time, and I was my major was self-directed management. Was my major. I changed my major a couple of times, just to give you guys a brief story. So I do my research. I'm just being honest. I'm an academic. They consider when you do it, your intellect. You research and study like this. I'm an academic. That's what the word, the term deals with. I do heavy research, and this also gets into investigative journalism or forensic research, as some people put it. But this is definitely, the censorship is discriminatory practices. This is torturous interference. I went over. A federal judge, by the way, ruled on Twitter that Trump couldn't block certain trolls. The federal judge stated that the reply section on Twitter was a public utility, which is a right to free speech. So this is how blatantly the tech companies, by them censoring, kicking Alex Jones off, it's highly illegal. It's criminal. I do hear Alex Jones is going to file a countersuit. And I encourage everyone else out there, if you have the money, definitely sue these people, because they're breaking the law. This is an attempt to influence the midterm elections. When they talked about the Russian meddling, this is the meddling right here. It's coming from big tech giants such as, from my notes, Facebook, Google, Twitter, Apple, Microsoft, Silicon Valley, just to name a few, have formed a monopoly, and they are attempting to silence their competitors. So they want things to be one-sided. When I went over earlier, communications, even being a lawyer, there's a rule where you're supposed to be unbiased. So this is definite attempt by big tech giants to censor certain people off the internet that are mentioning real information. I'm not saying that I agree with everything that Alex Jones says. It doesn't mean just because you listen to somebody or you follow somebody that you co-sign everything that they say. This doesn't mean that, because my mother asked me, she said, did you agree that, do you think Michelle Obama was a man when Alex Jones was doing that satirical satire? And allegedly he admitted that he was just doing satire, but I don't think, media doesn't have a place for that. I think he just should have stuck to reporting on the news. I understand. I didn't get offended personally, but I understand how some people can get offended or whatnot. but I don't think, in my opinion, I told my mother I didn't think that was true. I think that it was inappropriate that they were saying this, that he was saying, putting this out there or whatnot, saying this despite the other stuff he reports on. It doesn't mean that I agree with her point of views, but I'm just saying from a true, well-balanced perspective, honest perspective, being bipartisan and just not looking at either political party, just report on the facts, the information, the corruption that has happened instead of getting into the name calling or is this person, this term sex or transgender. That has nothing to do with the corruption or misconduct in terms of that, unless it was related to a sex ring or something like that. But other than that, you know, I say a lot of what Alex Jones was speaking about was true, and this is the reason why they wanted to shut him down from YouTube. Was a big platform where he got tons of views or whatever. But I'm just showing you guys how I do research, how I investigate or whatever. I understand people get into the fangirl and fanboy stuff with the name calling, but I just want to stick to the main meat and potatoes, the facts. That's not conspiracy, because they're quick to label everything as a conspiracy theory. But keep in mind, theory is something that's theoretical, hasn't been proven. But you do have something called a conspiracy fact, or meaning people have conspired and then there's facts behind it, something that's actually happened. Then you have conspiracy reality, where we're dealing with like real time. We're in real time right now. For example, those of you in the chat watching this in real time, this is reality, whatever. But it's not necessarily, the word conspiracy deals with conspiring. You have individuals that conspire, so you have to take the two separate words and look at them for what the meanings for what they are, and stop listening to the mainstream lamestream media that's trying to brainwash and program people, and have an open mind. Think out of sight, out of mind. This information, you have to use critical analysis, a good assessment, and make judgment. Because I read the articles from both the left and right. I when I come home, I look at the reports on Yahoo News, and I'm seeing how more biased they are each and every day. How it's just one-sided. They're coming at this person. They're so desperate when they're attacking one individual. It's a reason to show why they're so desperate. And it, in many instances, has the Mandela effect, or as they say, the Streisand effect, where actually, in turn, causes people to wake up. I told my mother and my brother this one time. We were having a discussion. I said they don't even realize when they talk about or try to vilify, let's say, Trump or Alex Jones so much, this is giving them publicity. Because people are going to say, wait a minute, they're going to check into it and say, is it really true? Or people who are on the fence, when Yahoo constantly has someone that they're trying to demonize or vilify, it gives them publicity in a way. I learned this from Nintendo years ago when I used to I used to call up the video game people many years ago and talk to them about the Sega Genesis and Super Nintendo from a marketing perspective. And they told me that whenever Sega would talk really bad about them, it would actually help give them publicity, from a marketing perspective. This is what the Mandela Streisand effect is like. So it's having a reverse effect. It's in turn waking people up. This is how retarded they are, and they don't even realize it. But unfortunately, they do have a lot of power when you look at who controls the super media conglomerates like Disney owning ABC, and Reuters, and who owns Associated Press. These big super conglomerates of Viacom or Alphabet, you have to own. So these large tech companies are attempting to have a one-sided view that they just want you to just have tunnel vision and look this way. They don't want you to question the official narrative. And this is also coming from the Bilderberg group, which I believe they summons in a lot of at their recent meeting in early June that was somewhere in Italy. They summons a lot of journalists and media people to attend. So look up, if you haven't heard of the Bilderberg meeting, if you're not familiar with them, then check out a documentary that Alex Jones did. It's called Endgame. It's very educational. He hooked up with journalists from around the world. There was other journalists from other countries who were investigating. They would be considered modern day Illuminati, by the way, how they were colluding in secret. And there's actually laws that were against that. Some U.S. politicians got fined for attending. It's called the Logan Act or something to that effect. Don't quote me on it. Where if they're caught colluding or going to the secret meeting, because the Bilderberg is comprised of very elite people particular bloodlines who summons the heads all over the world of heads of media, big giant corporations, tech companies, all different sorts of fields, the medical industry, so they can influence it and attempt to manipulate it and control it. So check out Alex Jones' film called Endgame. I'm not sure if they still sell it on Amazon, since Amazon is another big firm, and I guess he doesn't get along with Jeff Bezos, who owns Amazon. Jeff Bezos is a billionaire too, and so they may have censored. So you might have to purchase them from InfoWars if he's still selling it, or if you can still watch it free on YouTube. I think YouTube still has it, but it's very educational. It's called Endgame, and it's factual, very factual, and it's journalists, people from all over the world, and it breaks down. It shows you the evidence of how this was from a meeting from some years ago, but they have it every year. It continues. It's ongoing. Just like Bohemian Grove. I see you in the chat, Supreme. Yeah, that's, yep, just similar to Bohemian Grove. Bohemian Grove is more like a ritual thing. That's in California every summer, somewhere in California. It said dark secrets inside Bohemian Grove. Yeah, will blow your top off. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, where they worship the big stone owl, whatever, Moloch, whatever they call him. There's a friend of mine who put me up on Alex Jones years ago. Not making this up. It's a true story. I'm not going to say his name to protect his identity, and I'm not going to say which branch of the military he served in, but he had a level 4 secret security clearance, and he used to work with me in security some years ago for a different company. It was Wackenhut at the time. Now it's G4S Security, I guess, bought out Wackenhut. This was some years ago. And I used to have people come up to me, by the way, back then and approach me and say, hey, I work for that company in Africa or Puerto Rico. Well, I had one guy that told me he worked for Wackenhut at Area 51 when people were saying it was no such thing as Area 51. I actually had customers, people would see me in uniform and say, hey, I work for that company, by the way. This is how I would get information, by the way. People would tell me things, so everything is not a conspiracy. There is factual evidence of stuff that has happened out here. So stop listening to some of these trolls. This is how you can tell some of these trolls and people are gatekeepers. They want to keep you brainwashed, and they want you to just be psychologically just plugged into the matrix, of Manchurian Candidate. They don't want you to think out of sight, out of mind, outside of the box. They want you to be brainwashed, and that's basically what this media is, just how it's become one-sided. Yes, you do have flaws on both sides, of course, with the Republican Party, but in my opinion, from my assessment, it appears the ruling class elite are using the Democratic Party to basically circumvent the rule of law, undermine our government, and bring in socialism, which leads to communism. Bernie Sanders admitted he was a socialist, by the way, and a lot of people were telling me before Obama got in office, actually, he was a socialist, whatever. But they say socialism leads to communism, and it never ends well. It does not go right at all. Capitalism may not be perfect, but at least the opportunity to have a free market. In communist countries already, they'll come disappear you, execute you, torture you. China for years was trying to cover up their execution vans. What they would have with political dissidents, they call them. They would extract their organ. They would pick them up when an elite person, I guess a billionaire from some part of the world, needed an organ. China would just go and get a political dissident, someone they made a political prisoner, and extract their organs. And these were violations of international laws, international crimes. And China was trying to cover this up for years, but it came out. You can look this up on YouTube. It was international. It was a big investigation, like with Interpol. These are major violations. So why is it these people are breaking the law, and they're trying to point the finger that Trump is this big bad boogeyman that is all coming from him? No, it is the cabal, the ruling class elite. And you can watch the evidence, the video that Newt Gingrich said. It's still on YouTube. Look it up. What he said about Trump. He said Trump is not part of the initiation rite. He's not part of the secret society. He said this. Newt Gingrich, former Speaker of the House, who some, even kind of by his own admission, he's a member of the deep state. It's just that Trump was able to roll in these circles because Trump was a billionaire. And he was a businessman. So he had the ability and influence at the time to roll in these circles with these high profile or these initiate people, part of these secret societies, these other gatekeepers. This is the difference with Trump. He is not as evil and wicked as Obama and Hillary Rodham Clinton. When you look at what they've done and look at compare it to Trump's policies, and you got black pastors that met with him not too long ago. Then you got this other set of pastors that are in bed that want to overthrow the country or whatever, who were in disagreement with these other pastors. So this is how I grew up in the church. So I study a lot of information. I can tell this is also a matter of good versus evil. Overall, Trump is not perfect, however, but overall, he's not as evil or wicked as these other cabal people. Like, they're coming out with a new Predator movie, and you got this large predator. If you watch the trailer for it on YouTube or whatever, I guess it's like a super predator, like it's bigger than the other ones from the previous movie. And there was one Predator movie that Lawrence Fishburne played in where you had something similar some years ago. It was a previous Predator movie that came out, and you could say, if people say Trump is in the cabal category, some people say he's controlled or is with a different set of elites, then I'll give you that. But he's not he's not like the other group that's very evil or wicked. This other group that's very wicked are the ones that's behind running the child sex trafficking rings. They're behind bringing drugs into the country. They use their foundations and corporations to donate money to Monsanto. I won't say the names. I could probably say the names of a couple individuals, but I won't, and their organizations, by the way, where they use some of their organizations as a front. So be careful. If you have a humanitarian organization, do research and investigate who you donate money to, or who these corporations are affiliated with, and who they're owned by. Because when you look at the cabal members, they're doing wicked things, like they're behind poisoning our food supply. They brought responsible for bringing drugs in the country. This is already declassified. They made a movie that came out back in 2014 called Kill the Messenger. It was released at certain theaters across the country. It was from a former journalist who worked for a writer or editor, worked for the San Jose Mercury News, I believe. His name was Gary Webb. They made a movie. The guy that played in The Wire, I can't think of that guy's name. He played in the film they made, but it was released across the country, I guess, at certain select theaters, just like the movie about Aaron Swartz called The Internet's Own Boy. Look that up. Good movie. He was a pioneer for a lot of things, for freedom of internet, dealing with like tied in with freedom of speech or whatnot. But it's called Kill the Messenger. So this is what I'm saying. The difference with these criminal cabal members, these ruling class elite, Trump has more integrity than these people. What he's done, even if the Russian meddling was true, he was colluding with the Soviet Union, or if it was allegedly true, or in the Ginger Daniel things, I'm not doubting it. But in comparison to Hillary and Obama, Benghazi, the Navy SEAL helicopter being shot down, which many people believe, I asked my barber at the time, who trained in martial arts under a guy that was special forces. My barber even said he believed that Navy SEAL helicopter, they killed those men. That was under Obama's administration. That happened. The IRS thing with Lois Lerner, you can look that up. Lois Lerner scandal. Obama tried to sell the Senate seat. Remember, Blagojevich, the former governor of Illinois, was tied in with that. And then Jesse Jackson Jr. did the jail time for that. Had to basically take the fall for Obama. So they'll sell your own, sell your brothers and sisters out. This is why I left the Democratic slave plantation a long time ago. Because these people are wicked. These are scandals. I'm trying to think of the other one. So I mentioned there was the Uranium one. You also had Operation Fast and Furious, where Obama and Eric Holder continued from Bush's administration into Obama's administration, was running drugs into the country. You can look this up online. Look up Eric Holder's name on Wikipedia. See the evidence. They're responsible for funding drug cartels or whatnot. And there's even more information on YouTube. Document this information. Document these videos before, because what they're trying to eventually move to, these big tech giants, they want to remove as many documentaries and evidence off the internet as possible. That's why they're trying to shut Alex Jones down, because they don't want people knowing this information. Hold on for a second. right. All right, I'm back. What? All right, I'm back. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Okay. Go back to the chat real quick. Okay, I see here. Supreme L says, indeed, gatekeepers can also be everyday Joes too. Anyone keeping the knowledge and information from us compartmentalized. Yes, that is true. Some people, I would say, unknowingly, that, how can I put it? For example, if you have people who already pledged, members already part of secret societies, many of you already know of, not just Freemasons, but fraternities and sororities included. They're definitely going to be more high on the list as far as being suspects. But you also have a group called InfoGuard that's like a division connected to Homeland Security, where they act as citizen spies. You can do research and look up information on them. While I hear behind the scenes that they work for the criminal elite, and not everyone within our government is corrupt. And let me say this on the record. I did give a disclaimer earlier. So I'm not anti-government. We have patriots, people within our government that mean well, who have integrity. And integrity implies honesty, loyalty, trustworthiness, being sincere, and being humble. And I have a lot of those qualities. I'm not saying I'm perfect, but compared to these people I mentioned earlier and the crimes that are committed, this is one way. I went through some things working in the field that I do, by the way. So I'm speaking from experience, by the way. There was an assassination attempt that was made on my life at my job some years ago. I had a friend of mine take down the names of some potential suspects just in case something did happen to me. I would have persons of interest that some other people or friends could turn over to law enforcement. I suggest anybody does that. If you feel there's anybody trying to stalk you, trying to intimidate you from putting this information out, it's only going to make one stronger. And this is why they want to try to censor and cover things up. Because remember, good works are done in the light, but evil works are done in the cover of darkness. Evil works. Think about it. These people, they don't like to be seen. Antifa at these rallies cover up their masks. They're being funded by George Soros, and he also funds Black Lives Matter, even funds white supremacist groups. That's why that whole Charlottesville thing I'm not going to go as far as to say it's a hoax. There's some truth to it, and I understand where each side is coming from. I'm not going to get into it about that. Each side, but remember, they have operatives like people within the rallies who are members of fraternities and sororities who know that want to get you roused up, but they'll have another member who's part of the group that knows that you may not be a Freemason, but you're passionate on whatever side you're on, whether you're with the Black Lives Matter or you're with the white nationalist side. They want to get you roused up and angry because they're getting paid. There was ads put in papers where people were reporting, even overseas, where they've been discovered paying people to come to these rallies. And people say, well, where's the evidence that George Soros is funding this? There was research done already some years ago. The Open Society Foundation is like a headquarters for other nonprofit groups, and they filter the money through. They pass it along to. That's how they kind of do things. They trickle the money down. They pass it from that organization to other work. Now, Lisa Haven, and subscribe to her YouTube channel. She did an excellent video. What I like, she shows the evidence too, by the way, and reports on the facts. Everything, she reports on something hardcore. She does excellent journalism. Shows you the evidence. I've looked up documents she's reported on, and I've downloaded some of the documents, PDF files for evidence. And she showed where on Scribs.com, where they took a lot of redemption stuff, on Scribs.com showed actual documents that Hillary, through her nonprofit and some other groups out there, there was tax filings that they had paid for those protesters during the primaries, and when Trump was running against Hillary. They paid for those protesters to show up at the Trump rally in Chicago that got shut down, where the Chicago police came in, and George Soros was involved too. But these documents, the tax filings, led back to also to Hillary Clinton, and Lisa Haven showed the evidence. It was on Scribs.com. So I just want you guys to know there is evidence that's out there, and it was on Scribs, and she showed it. I saw it from my own eyes. Whether you believe me or not, I encourage you, do your own research. I'm just reporting on, you guys have all the power. I'm just sharing the information as a messenger. So I see someone else in the chat said, Jordan Evela, good stuff. Appreciate it. Supreme El Bay, gun and drug runner. Yup. Supreme El Bay, damn, bro. Yeah, I know I'm going in hard. I don't normally go in like this, but I'm pissed off at these people. I have I won't go into that, but these people are dishonorable. I personally went through some major things people haven't experienced. And that's why I mentioned my credentials, where I am, where I've been, kind of, so you guys, people would have a little background about me. I see Oregon Miller says, how do you deal with gun gurus running the redemption scam, straw man buying scam? I recently exposed someone for attempting to scam me. Well, I understand. I studied in that movement. I would say there's some truth to it. Of course, like anything in life, you're going to have con artists and people who manipulate out there. And everyone has to use their own assessment and judgment before you pay someone or give someone some money to do, paperwork or something for you. You have to use good assessment, good judgment. But I experienced personally, I don't really have the time right now because this video is about censorship to go into. I probably will have to save that for another video because I'm going to get ready to shut things down. But very good question, Orion Miller. Yes, there is hustlers, con artists. They say pimps, players, and hustlers that they'll get a hold of a little bit of good information and they'll want to run with it and sell it. And that's why a lot of stuff got messed up, that some of the good cabal members or people that have a lot of money who do care and wanted to help others at the bottom, why they had to change certain processes and stuff because people mess things up. And that's due to a lot of con artists and people out there you do have. So yes, I understand there is truth to that, but like I say, everyone has to use their own assessment and judgment. And I would also advise you to take a closer, deeper look with this information. Please do your research. Also, before I shut it down, check out this movie on YouTube. You can watch it for free. It's called Conspiracy of Silence. Look up the names and the people associated with this documentary. Go on Amazon, look up John D. Camp, look up the book with Nick Ryan about the Franklin cover-up. Look that up. This is evidence stuff that's already happened years ago. Factual stuff. Please look it up. It's called Conspiracy of Silence. You can watch it free. It was banned. It was supposed to air on the Discovery Channel years ago. Right at the last minute before it aired, someone bought up all the rights to the TV show or to the documentary and stopped it from airing. But a former FBI whistleblower got a hold of the tape, was still able to get it out. Someone put it on YouTube, uploaded it some years ago, I guess. And it goes over, and this will lead you down a rabbit hole. Brother's wife told me this documentary helped wake her up. Even Monopoly Men, my cousin told me some years ago, helped wake a lot of people up that he knows, and Money Masters. Now, before I shut it down, Supreme L says, you can only be the beneficiary, that the trust doesn't belong to you, it belongs to the Church of Rome. Yeah, it's deep. I'm going to have to get ready to shut things down. There is another aspect, just like the universe, there's yin and yang. Everything has an opposite side to it. So as above, so as below. With that being said, I want to thank you guys for joining me. Don't forget to like Dorsey's Resource, thumbs up this video. You're welcome to share it, comment, and subscribe. Until next time, I see Supreme in the chat. I appreciate you, Dorsey. Great video. Stop by the Discord. Okay, no doubt. Appreciate you, everyone. Peace.